Hey, Podcast America. Welcome to episode 62 of the Enlightened Neanderthals podcast. And before we get into it, we'll talk about my own company, Training Northwest, which you can find at trainingnorthwestllc.com. And we're down to 2 spots left in the Rifleman camp in August.
Damn. Sign up.
It's a fun weekend. You know, if you're thinking about it, you're not going to want to miss it.
It's the best weekend, Tobin.
Was it?
It's a blast.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good. For me, it's
summer's built around
For
it.
me, it's high stress and it's work, so I'm glad that
I'll bring turkey sandwiches. Don't worry.
There's
You'll be
customer
fine.
feedback from 2 customers, satisfied customers, deeply satisfied customers, right there.
They write you on Twitter?
I don't fucking know.
Technology.
What?
Keep going.
No. Technology is what we're talking about, Mike. Take it away.
This is my book report. This is Kevin Kelly's What Technology Wants. Some would say the best book that's been written in the last 2 centuries. I say maybe the last 1,000 years. And these 2 guys seem to agree. And so as we go down the rabbit hole of technology, it is not about the physical things. It is about the group collective. And I think there was a lot of opposing views. And no, this is what I like, though. This is why I recommended it, because it gets you boys fired up. Quite like the Divine Matrix.
Yeah, fired up. Yeah. I was so excited.
He knows us
Just
so well.
rallied up.
He was like, you know what's really going to get them going?
Screw you. This was my Divine Matrix, dude. You guys can suck it. Suck it, dude. Best book ever.
All right.
So it's a really good book. So please buy and read and like it.
Well, hang on. All right. So as long as we're here and reading the intro, our next book by Dan Carlin. What's it called again, Jordan?
It is called. I got
The End is always.
The End is always
The End
near.
is always near.
Yeah.
All right. So that'll be the next book. It won't take as long because it's actually interesting. Enjoy the episode, you guys. What occasioned you to eat some fried kale? Or
Gay Pride Month. When I'm on the float, I mean, I can't stop.
Yeah.
I'm dancing. I'm
Eat it like
kale.
seaweed chips.
Yeah, that's good.
Those are good.
Do you want to know a hack?
Sure thing.
Did you hit record? Because
Yeah.
this is like, okay.
we can always edit the front end off.
Yeah. Costco.
Yeah.
You ever get their poke?
No.
Their little raw tuna mixed with the onions and the mayonnaise and
Nope.
you get that. You make yourself a thing of rice at home, and then you also get those little seaweed crisps.
And just eat that like little finger.
Put a little pair of chopsticks. Put some rice on your seaweed. Grab some tuna.
Yep.
And sophisticatedly eat sushi.
Yeah.
In your bathrobe.
in your bathroom.
On your couch. It's pretty cool.
So like sashimi grade fish, I thought was like.
I don't know if it's.
But
it's
no.
Costco.
I think it's such a gray area.
Oh yeah.
Like I thought it was like, oh, there is an absolute like a thing they have for sashimi grade. It's not. It's like some people say you have to freeze it, and like once it's frozen, then it thaws out, and then it's because they
some
just want to
people
get it
salt it and then wash it.
Yeah.
Some people, there's all kinds of things, but that's killing bacteria. It's like
Spray
everyone has
put a
their own
little lime on
version of what food grade or like raw grade is.
But the thing is it's all just raw. Like, at the end of the day, there's never. It's not an actual.
But I bet you like there has to be like handling and like if we killed an elk and did it quick and properly and clean compared to like it sat out for 4 hours.
Yeah, no, I think there's like the ideal thing to do is like fillet it or gut it or whatever you're gonna do and get it on ice as fast as possible. Yeah. Like get it frozen or get it cold,
chilled.
Yeah,
taking that heat from the body out.
Yeah. So I mean, not that fish are super warm ever, but nevertheless,
still
as cold as possible.
Throw it on the side of your boat and eat it 3 hours later. Tell me how it tastes.
Yeah.
It is not good.
Fishy.
Yeah. It is not good.
Yeah, but that was something I just realized the other day. I thought sashimi grade was like this special thing, and it's like
you're at AM PM. You're like, oh,
is this sashimi grade? Yeah.
Sophisticated.
It's at room temperature.
Yeah. Where's my bathrobe?
How nice. Well, Mike,
is this time?
It's time. All right.
Does the boner start?
We're going to talk about What Technology Wants by Kevin Kelly and published by Penguin Books. Mike is so excited.
Dude, I'm teeming. I want questions. I'll provide answers. You know what I mean?
Do you want go ahead? And you kick it off.
What Technology Wants by Kevin Kelly. Why I recommended this book and in this order. Like, I'm thinking about my book recommendations, and this isn't one I would be like,
They get more boring as we go.
Yeah.
And he's like, I planned it this way.
Yeah. This is my trebuchet.
Oh, okay.
Climb in, boys, because you're about to get launched. And there's a reason. Like, I can't bring you into our first book report with this. Like, if I was teaching jiu-jitsu advanced De La Hiva moves, that's not day one. I need to start with day one. But Peleliu for me
we had to start with the simple shit like the physics of time.
Yeah. You think I was ready for this? Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, but you're...
I guess you're never ready for your next promotion.
Never, dude. Never. But this book follows in this reason because of some of the concepts I think of time and how the universe works are very important. And
it's probably the reason I didn't love it.
Yes,
no,
exactly.
I liked a lot of it.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of it, but there were some of the stuff that he was going
so
on.
Dry.
It was like, well, it wasn't that it was dry. It was just like,
who fucking cares?
It's so wordy. He could have condensed this down to 100 pages.
Just
rambles on and on and on about statistics, and it's boring.
Yeah. What do you say? Statistics.
I think the reason he did that was to basically like give himself, make himself look like he's actually done some research.
Yeah.
Maybe. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I learned pretty quickly to like read the first sentence of the paragraph and then just skim over the rest because it was all filled with just saying the same thing over and over and over again for 6 sentences.
My girlfriend says I do that, and she gets a fucking point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, but that reading something like this to me, it is a lot of repetition. But I feel sometimes when you're trying to pull something out of data and nothingness in a way that it's never existed. Some of these topics I have never heard before, and I kind of like heady stuff.
Yeah.
And the way that maybe technology can be almost an entity like evolution or a driving
I thought it was
factor.
completely bullshit that he tried to call it like a fourth kingdom where it's like, what is it,
A
like,
seventh kingdom.
or
with the
animals, plants, and fungus.
Yep,
and he's like, oh, then there's technology. It's like, no, motherfucker.
Well, that's what kind of irritated me a little bit about it too. I was like, dude, you're trying to tell me like technology is.
It's you.
Well, he was saying it's like biology is technology, and it's like let's stick to like things that are being made in the technology. But he was trying to basically say like,
he was trying to
because
compare
you have
electronics
a
to biology
tapeworm,
and say that electronics were like another form of life, and they're not.
Well, he was saying that we're using probiotics to help digest our food, which is a form of technology that we're using in order to digest our food. And bacteria is something that we use, and but fuck you. You know what I mean? Like,
Fuck this guy.
Hang on. Before we go specific, I want to say one other broad theme I had was that I would really like to hear his thoughts on because this book was written like 2010, I think.
2010.
And I would like to hear his thoughts post-COVID, where the sort of the authoritarianism showed itself a little bit. Because everything granted, I'm me, but every part I read, I was like, this motherfucker doesn't realize what's coming with all this AI, and he's talking about he wants
how
cameras in
great
every device and blah blah blah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
how
it's
wonderful
coming.
it will be, and
hinges.
every time I kept thinking like, I don't know if you know what's coming.
Yeah.
I don't think he did. You know, there wasn't that kind of technology back then.
But you could see it coming, maybe.
He went in hard on
Yeah.
my Amish man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because my spirit
But
animal
he lived
is,
with them.
Yeah. I was telling you.
The Ted Kaczynski and the Amish chapters were pretty interesting.
That's what I was going to say. You call me Seamus Kaczynski
Yeah.
because that's my spirit animal. Dude. Like, that's who I am. That's my Mike Zedong.
Yeah.
We were talking about it last night. That's me,
Absolutely.
dude. Like,
Yeah.
but
Seamus.
Seamus Kaczynski.
I
I thought
like
about
Seamus.
coming in here with like a flat black hat, like an Amish hat, and just aviators.
Seamus Kaczynski.
Yeah.
In a hood. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. All right. Well, I maybe will try and take lead on this because this is a book I've read.
Yeah, by all means.
Yeah. I've read multiple times, and
I think we all did.
It was just so riveting the first time. I couldn't wait to give it a second go.
And I'll say it like this. To start on this, let's not think.
How many times did you read it, Jordan?
Oh man, a couple.
No, but I read this in like 2011, and I was like, that was unique. And then I listened to it again, and it made
It is a
more
unique
sense.
book.
And it made more sense the more I listened to it. And it was just an aspect of thinking I had never really approached or thought was possible until I really had things laid out constantly and in the same direction. And for me, like you said, I would like to know what he thinks about this currently. Like in this time frame that we live in and the technologies being so integrated and involved in our life. Yeah. And it's like, I get that. I think throughout whatever period in history of time, there's going to be influence of people. But for technology itself, this growth to happen, I like to think of it without our certain biases, like within political, within money. I like to think of that kind of out of it and think of how these things work, like they were saying, as kingdoms and structures and how they're built upon each other. Okay? So this is Mike starting the most boring podcast ever of his favorite book.
Oh, there's the title.
Oh, wait, that's the wrong page. That's the title. Oh, wait, that's the wrong page. What technology wants? That's the right page. We know what it is, but what does it want? Sounds like a Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah. So,
But what does it want?
yeah, what's the deal? The things are not important when it comes to technology. It's not, and that's what I used to get so hung up on, is it's the cell phone's distracting me. This app is distracting me. This new gadget is distracting me, right? And it's not about the individual thing, right? It's not about one specific unit. It's about the sum of all of the units. It's the whole. It's having a cell phone's cool, but if you don't have Instagram, if you don't have good Wi-Fi, if you don't have algorithms that do addict you and want you to be on it more, it's not going to work the same thing. Cool, a telephone's cool, but if you don't have 1,000 other people to call in the United States, friends, businesses, services, fire departments, there's no fucking point in having these technologies, right? Technology is really apparently great when it's built on a network of other technologies. It's not about the individual unit. It's about the sum of everything and how they work collectively.
Sure, and that's why the internet became such a massive step forward, is it's what connected all the individual things.
But let's take that from the base, though, too. It's like each technology is just as important as the internet because you don't get the sum of all of those without one of them. If you don't have electricity, no internet. If you don't have infrastructure in a peaceful society or a government or industry that can build the
verbal
necessity.
language turned into written language, turned into and it snowballs into all of a sudden.
Jordan's talking about chapter 1 now, right? Where they
I'm
talked
talking.
about the language.
We're all talking.
Well, so he calls language the first technology.
Yes.
Right? And I thought that part was cool where it got into the.
And that was it.
Good night.
After that, it got really boring. He talked about the grandparent phenomenon.
Yes.
Where suddenly, where once these little tribes had evolved to the point where lifespan increased, then you had village elders who could pass on oral traditions and knowledge instead of, imagine if by the time you're 17, you're a parent, and now you're just hunting and scavenging for food for the children. then you die by the time you're 30. Everybody's always busy and always scrounging all the time, just to get
time
through till
to think
tomorrow.
and have innovation.
Once you have village elders who now
Three
are less
generations.
physically active, they're hanging out around the fire with the kids and passing. There's like a generation jump, while the
Not only a generation, but they saw a growth jump when grandparents were able to watch grandchildren. When we reach that point in mortality where, like you're saying, people live longer, right? Therefore, they can become grandparents.
I'm just saying the way the knowledge would jump every other generation. Not like you would learn from your grandparents, but your dad would have learned from his grandparents, who you would not have met. And so it's sort of like a leapfrogging of information being passed down.
But the longer you
it still carries on all the traditions and passes on like lessons learned, which eventually turns into innovation.
But then the second year of grandparents compared to the first year of grandparents, you're going to have more information to pass on.
And so it was that grandparent phenomenon that allowed information to start building on itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've never thought about that before.
Yeah.
It was an interesting chapter to think that grandparents could shift like a hunter-gatherer tribe where you're just fighting cougars and, bringing meat home to your kids. And then if you don't have to worry about your kids as much and grandparents can watch them for 3 days, 4 days, it allows you to hunt. It allows you opportunity to work on new skills and craft.
Yeah. To what you said though, with all of that came, he gets really into like biology of plants and different bullshit, right? So where as he's talking, he's saying, or talking, he's as the book goes on, he says, with crops came growth. And the more people, the more information gets spread, the more stories you have, the faster. So like at some point we're going to hit terminal velocity, and it's just, at what point is it too much? And that's kind of where we're at right now, I think, with like social media and everything. Everything's coming at us so fast, and it's so uncomfortable for me. Like I'm not made for this place. And he talks a little bit about that towards the end of the book as well, of like there's going to be it's our obligation to push forward with technology, because at some point there's going to be a Beethoven that doesn't have a piano because the piano hasn't yet been invented, and we don't know what that piano looks like or what outlet that actually is that hasn't been invented yet. But there's somebody who's a genius walking around the world right now, and they don't have the outlet. Yeah. And that's what I started thinking about myself. I don't know my outlet, guys. I'm a freaking genius. I'm waiting to launch.
Well, and how much of that having that outlet dictates you? Like Jimi Hendrix was phenomenal on the guitar, and like without the amplifier, would Jimi Hendrix be Jimi Hendrix playing acoustic? Yeah. Was without Dashboard Confessionals? No,
without LSD, was he?
Yeah, exactly.
Jimi Hendrix without whoever invented that. Like it's cool how they layer. He layers all the technology and builds it, and that I think is a key factor. Whatever you want to take away from this is the fact that technology builds. Go ahead.
Let's keep building upon this.
Yes.
So we hit my first note. That sparked a lot of debate. We're going to need more beer for this podcast.
I was just going to say,
I got 5 pages.
Are those mountains blue?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tap into the Rockies, my friend. Okay, so like I was saying earlier, the thing is not important. It's a sum of all things and how they work together as a collective. Like, so let's take it like you're saying. He breaks it down to a lot of biologies. And I'll probably
which is what I didn't like, by the way.
Well, that's why your buddy Mike's here.
Yeah, okay.
And he'll soft lead you into this.
I understood it. I just thought it was bullshit.
Yeah.
I thought he was using scientific terms to validate his thought process.
Yeah, that's
as
called
opposed to
science.
as opposed to coming in and saying like, "Hey, guess what?" Like, well, no, like I didn't think it was science based. I think it was an opinion based thing, and he was trying to build on it and using science as a reference to be able to be like, "Look at all this smart shit I'm saying," and then it's like, no, and then but when he got to the Amish and Ted Kaczynski, he pulled me in.
Then we paid attention.
He got me in there.
Yeah, because that's the final. That's the end of the. Okay,
That's the
oh,
beginning.
yeah,
And that was like the middle.
That was
there
the
was
middle.
still 250
Dude,
pages of boring shit
this
to
book
go.
was a fucking Oreo. And
No.
toss away the cookie, give me the center, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what he did. This guy,
I like that. That's
this
a good analogy.
motherfucker was just dogged me for the first fucking 3 hours of this thing, and then I had a good solid 6 hours, and then the last fucking 6 hours I was like, oh. Anyway, sorry.
No.
Go ahead. What
I think you
technology
ma-
wants?
Yeah, what technology wants? Okay, so it's a collective, my friends. A giant collective. Jordan, you have bees, right?
I did. I had bees.
You had bees.
Yeah.
Well, when you had bees,
I needed a little bit more technology.
How long were you a beekeeper for?
I was a beekeeper for a solid week and a half, dude.
toughest week of my life.
Yeah, dude. Didn't get stung once.
You're batting a thousand.
Pesticides are a technology that bees don't like.
Yeah.
And apparently, from what Mark says, he was like, that seems like, and he said some big science word like pesticidiotomy or whatever, you know. Yeah. And next thing you know,
yeah, fairly.
these bugs are dead.
Yeah.
And it's like, son of a bitch.
These bugs. My bees.
Yeah, my bees died. They got into some roses that were probably sprayed, and they died within a couple days.
That'll happen.
Yeah. Anywho, go ahead.
The arc of life. Okay. So you have bees and had past tense. You had bees. And a single bee is kind of boring, right? If I see a bee, I'm not like, oh, that's
cool,
magnificent.
Actually, it's
but you see a swarm working or you see a hive working, and there's something natural.
It is. Hang on. An individual bee is pretty interesting, but a hive is fucking badass.
Blowing.
Yeah.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
Blows you away. So a single bee kind of sucks. Just like a single telephone, a single computer,
Tiffany.
A single Tiffany. Yeah. It sucks solo. But collectively, this hive of Tiffany's,
a couple.
They work pretty amazing. And that's where it gets into like technology. Like one bee by itself is its own individual. You and I are cool by ourselves as an individual, but as a collective of a hive, you work better. And so this is not saying this is that. This is what's called closed loop systems.
Okay.
Right? In data terms, right? In computation, you're trying to write a formula that will always go back into itself and finish so it can
you're
restart.
talking to a couple electricians.
I was going to say,
yeah.
I was working on a closed loop today.
Right? Okay. Perfect. So think of that in the way of an operating system of like the planets or of a beehive, right? Or of technology and cell phones. You have to have metrics in which you can measure it, right? So you want to have these, what we're doing here is we're comparing systems, right? I'm going to compare a beehive structure to technology, right? Okay. Through a closed loop and how it works. Okay. And that's what we're trying to move forward here on these. Okay. So if we take a bee is nothing.
I've been saying the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So collectively, it's everything. One bee cannot do it. Many bees create food. They reproduce. They create housing. They have communication. They have order. And order is the biggest word of all things.
Sounds an awful lot like Mike Zedong.
A little bit of entropy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hang on. Did you guys put on those suits yet? Zip them up. Your neck's going to get cold on that bicycle. Order. Order is the most important thing, right? Ecology of systems. So like I was saying, when we have different, so we're trying to compare two different things earlier, right? So when we have an ecology of systems, it means they're working together in an order fashion, right? So if I have in your crew at work, you have materials, right? You have accounts payable, people taking in money, and then people paying out money. You have your electricians on the line. You have your workers. You have your people you're contracting. And if one of these systems fails, the unit falls apart as a whole.
Yeah. Look at COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was
okay. So if we have an ecology of systems working together, interrelated and independent and codependent of each other, right? So just the way I'm trying to compare these two different things, like a beehive and cell phones. If the network's down on your cell phone, you can't communicate with each other, right? But then say the network's up and the phone's broken. Well, you're still fucked. You can't make that phone call. What matters is that as a collective, you have these things working together to create, and I think this is important, interrelated, independent, and codependent of each other. I think that is one of the most important things.
Is it possible to be independent and codependent?
Yeah. I'm independent, but I'm codependent on you to do this podcast.
For the podcast.
Right?
I see what
so
you're saying.
You have relations that have to work together to achieve more. Yes. Yeah. But the machine, yes. It's not about the cog. It's about the machine growing.
Sounding awful Soviet again there. Comrade.
No, I'm just saying. So I'm going to take this way onto like a atomic level. We'll get there. So for things to progress, like these systems we're starting to talk about, they have to work. It seems to have a direction. Like the arrow of time seems to flow from entropy, right? You have a uniform state and then it starts to get scattered, dissolved, right? So there's an arrow, it seems like, with things like technology, starting with a wheel, and now we're podcasting, right? There seems to be a direction. It might go up and down a little bit.
Yeah, a rock wheel turned into a Tesla.
Yeah.
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 Okay. In time. Entropy. That was then.
Yeah.
It was rock.
Yep.
Now it's Tesla.
Now we're going.
Okay.
So what we're doing, just like the time book, we're creating an arrow, right?
Yeah.
We're constantly going in
Improving.
one direction.
That's what Jordan just said.
Absolutely.
Went from a rock to a Tesla.
All right. So if it has a direction it's going, where did it come from?
It came from all over. And that's the thing. This book, he talks about all this different shit, and he says everything. Everything is technology. Everything is technology.
It's not technology.
It's I'm sorry.
The technium.
The technium, and that's a word he fucking used.
Yeah, he made up.
He made up and
made
thing.
up.
In anyway, so yeah, the technium.
No, that's very important.
So now
point to make.
Why'd you think I was talking about it?
Yeah. No, because
I think you brought it up.
Technology is the item. Technology is this cast.
What is technology to you?
The whole, how it works together.
What is
That's the
technology?
technium.
Technology
We're getting there. Yeah, technology itself is cool, making things smaller and cooler and faster. That's technology.
Technology is independence, freedom, choice, creativity. It's all of those things, right? And those things, we want technology as a people because it gives us those things.
Yeah.
Technology is what we want, and that's like humans, or not even humans. He talks about different slugs that are eating fucking whatever, right? And it plankton, and it turns them this color because they're using the sunlight that's hitting the plankton inside of them and giving them injury. Whatever, right? There's technology in everything. But that's what I didn't enjoy. I wanted to talk about the cell phone. I wanted to talk about the hammer, right? And like things and tools that we use. he goes so deep into all of the other stuff that it burned my mind.
Well, I think
overheated.
it's because he thinks that technology is a force like gravity. So if
Well,
that
I
cell
think-
phone and that cool thing is a force inherent in the world like a gravity, shouldn't we understand what's driving this and
Dude,
where that could potentially lead?
It's an arrow from entropy.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're starting to
I thought we
get it.
covered this.
Yeah, now
No,
we're
we got to say it 4 more times, just like he did.
yeah. 6. Yeah, let's be
in the book.
honest. Yeah,
Thank
let's
you,
be
Kevin
honest.
Kelly.
Yeah.
No, I think there was points in there where it really broke down, like what he was trying to convey. But it was
broke it down all right.
It was
In
really
great,
hard.
exhausting detail.
It was hard to pick up the. I don't even know what to say. It was hard to pick out the pieces in like the sea of shit that he built.
You're right.
That's
You're
why
right.
we're here.
You know what I
That's
mean?
why
So
we're here.
what technology? What is your technology? Like what you got out of that?
We're working.
Are we working through? Like
We're working through
okay,
it.
sorry. I'll shut the fuck up and let you go, dude. Because yeah, go ahead.
No, but it drives a lot of questions.
It does. I have all kinds of questions.
Yeah, we'll get there. Let me see if I can cover some of them first. So
Yeah, Seamus Kaczynski is.
I think Seamus
Ready.
is antsy Kaczynski over here. So I think Jordan did make a very good point. We should make the reference between what is technology and what is the technium. Technology is the material unit itself, the cell phone, the computer.
The plankton.
No, technium. No.
Yeah.
Kind of no.
No, isn't that what he talks about? The
Technium-
DNA is the lowest form of technology.
Yes.
And it's also the most
It's the all-encompassing.
all-encompassing because it's
yes.
tiny. The smaller it gets, the more
the
technology.
conglomerate.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
So the technium is the culmination of everything, like you're saying. The fact that you can have DNA, that you can have cells, multi-cells, things like that. Everything working together as a unit. The cell phone doesn't matter. The computer doesn't matter. What matters is all of us having cell phones, all of us having computers, all of us being tethered together, how that creates.
It creates one great
It's
big
a
master
beehive.
system that is
A beehive.
society.
A beehive.
Yeah. And so we see when these things work together, it kind of seems to have a want, a drive, a force. Like a plant grows towards a window.
For fuck's sake, what does it want?
Yeah. But just like the time book, the greatest questions don't have answers. They just lead to a road that does.
So why do we read these books?
To go down the road further.
But that's I think what technology wants is not it. I think it is what we want. That is. I think we
'cause we
are
program
the
it.
driving. But then
No,
all of a
but
sudden he
it-
starts getting into software and how software is now its own entity and it is its own
Yeah,
thing
it's a
and
lot.
AI is taking on its own.
I see.
You know, as you
AI is writing
well, you
software.
call
Yeah.
right. Or you send an email, and the email at one
How
point
ironic
was
is it that the people who will invent AI are some of the first it will replace?
Yeah. Thank God for stickers.
they're the closest to it, right? The closest to it.
Okay, so let's go in that idea that it's this all-encompassing thing that kind of supports itself. It can do its own coding now. So where did it come from? This thing of technology, where did it come from? Right? And not just, and I say this, where did it come from? In a closed loop system. How did it get to be this hive network, not just its own thing? Like if you look at energy consumption,
Started at the Big Bang.
75% of the energy we make as humans is to power technologies for old technologies, right? It's not to sustain new things or just to get the heat going or I need lights. It's to keep the entire system going.
Yeah.
So the more it builds, the more it needs. It's growing like a hive.
There is a cricket that eats 1,000 blades of grass,
Yeah.
right? And eagle eats the cricket.
Yeah, he consumes the energy of that grass.
But he eats 100 crickets, so he's eating 100,000 blades of grass.
Yeah.
And that grass is weighs way more than he does. And it's a waste of energy. At what point is technology so inefficient, right? Because that's the technology we're talking about. We're talking about the heat that is dissipated over this, like what you were talking about. At what point is something just made for that purpose, right? Grass is made to be consumed at an alarming rate, which means sunlight is made to consume at even more of a rate, right? So, like, where did the technology begin? The Big Bang.
Yeah,
That's 100%. Like, it started from this tiny speck, and it gave possibilities.
The first atoms were made in the Big Bang. Then that's where.
And that's where.
By his definition, you're right. Everything is part of technology, which I disagree, because I think he actually at some point also tries to define technology as shit we invented. Correct?
Yes,
because it is.
Yeah. So then
it's everything.
So his ideas contradict a little bit.
Shit, Jordan just hopped on my side. I'm gonna tag team on this.
All right, let's go.
We're gonna butt fuck.
Let's
Jordan.
go.
Let's go here.
We're gonna what?
Wait, hang on.
Butt fuck Tobin.
Oh, my!
I got excited. I might have mumbled there looking at my notes. All right, so I like Jordan's idea because it's like, look in the natural world of where we come from. Like, if life started with a single cell, right? Mm-hmm. And then somehow you had asexual reproduction where it split in two and divided itself. 3.
Yeah, 3. Grab a handful.
Yeah, get the box. All right.
I think there's cold ones.
Cell started as a single structure. And then they went to multicellular or multifunctional, multicellular structures because it benefited them. It's easier. I'll say it that way. It's easier to progress when you have a digestive system, a nervous system, a mitochondria that provides metabolism and energy and heat. Right? If you're a simple single cell, right, it doesn't provide much of a life other than base necessities of survival, right? If you look at a cellular, what does it want to do? It wants to increase towards diversity, specialization of skills, and order.
That's the same as like a village.
Yes.
Life copies life.
Oh, kind of mirrors technology in a closed loop system, or singular cell evolution is a closed loop system. Interesting.
Slap doctor professor.
Yeah. He's eating a muffin.
Professor Kogat.
It's a burger.
I thought it was an orange muffin for a second. I was like, that's weird. Jordan's eating carrot cake. So you want to see an increase towards diversity, specialization of skills, and order. Because the more you change, like he's saying, going from the Big Bang in there's one atom, or first there's plasma, and then there's hydrogen. And you don't get any of the dense elements until you have stars. Just the way in these closed loop systems, it starts off with very basic, but then the more and more complex the system grows. The more plasma turns to hydrogen, the more hydrogen there is in the galaxy. The more hydrogen there is in clouds, then it kind of clusters together. You create stars slowly. The more stars there are, the more stars that'll explode. The more stars that explode create your denser elements in the periodic table. That then creates more opportunity for life, complex evolution, and growth.
Now,
I mean, that's
let me break the fourth wall here. let me break the fourth wall. If you're driving along listening to us talk right now, and you're going,
scientist,
the fuck is he talking about? We're right there with you.
Next paragraph.
Which is most of this book, if I'm being honest.
It's all good. I got you. Closed loop system.
I'll say this. I may have been listening to this book while doing
Sleeping
work, and there might have been some miswired things amidst me trying to listen to what the fuck he was talking about.
Like diversity of systems.
I had to make some decisions, and they might have stoplights were ran. I'll say that.
Oh, Lord.
So no, Jordan, he started on this good point. I'm going to keep going on it.
Keep it going.
From multicellular from single cellular to multicellular, from a single element in the universe, or from plasma to an element to complexity. Just like that arrow of time, arrow of order.
Yeah.
Diversity of things.
Entropy.
Entropy. Oh, we're getting there.
Bull dance. Feeling the flow.
Yeah. Write it. So in that idea of going from basic to more complex, more order, the more order there is. So that's going to mean there's different unique things. Instead of one bug, we have 20 bugs. And because there's 20 bugs, they're probably each going to have their own little
specialization.
Niche. Yes, exactly. So order equals complexity, which also creates evolvability. It's hard to create a bear with single cells, right? You need multi-cells, right? So the more you have complexity, which is order, and new things happening and occurring.
This is why in like movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, there are people who look weird. Because it's just there's that many more things, right?
You ever seen Star Wars when they're in that bar on fucking
there
Tatooine?
you go, Jar Jar Binks, right? Like these things happen when there's unlimited amounts of cells doing unlimited amounts of things, and that's why this goes from entropy into creating this complex group of extropy, where things get extropy. Sorry, extropy. Ecstasy.
MDMA.
Things get wild when that happens. And he goes into this, like, I can't remember what the paragraph was. But he talks about how the things are absolute. Humans becoming a thing was inevitable. Inevitable. So, and that all these things that we look at as very like special and spectacular and like, oh, this is like, what are the chances? He's like, well, 100%. The chances are 100% because that's what we do. That is life. That is technology. Technology will, everything you can imagine will happen. I just wanted to talk about axes.
This isn't your guy for axes, dude.
Well, he gets in the Amish thing, and it's like, and then
I was going to bring that up. The contrast between what's considered high technology today is usually has a very short lifespan, as opposed to something like these hatchets or good hunting knives, that their lifespan is
forever.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it's the technology, because he also talks about if things got destroyed, if the world got destroyed and we had nothing, would it all have to evolve the same way? Would it have to start from that single cell and we work through and then we lose everything? And then we have to go, okay, now we're learning to use a stick to hunt a bullfrog. You know what I mean? At some point, we're going to have to go through that again and build back up. Are we to the Amish thing yet, or
no?
Okay, never mind.
Chapter 2, I think.
Okay, he's on his second page of notes, and I'm just,
all right.
I just want to talk about buggies.
More order equals complexity, which creates evolvability. Evolvability increases evolution.
The book was just this exciting.
Yeah.
He is doing a killer job on this book report.
Yeah.
He is giving you guys the fucking feel right now.
Yeah. But what that means is that you're taking chaos and you're creating something great out of it. You're taking cheap wool and creating a sweater.
Yeah.
And so there's something.
But you're also creating a loom, and you're creating somebody's.
Well, the sweater was a metaphor, but yeah.
But that's the thing is, it's a
sweaters
build.
were hand knit before there was a loom.
Well, there you go. There was hand knit, and first you got to pin
Then
that.
you
fucker
got-
down.
needed darning needles,
Yeah.
which are all technology.
which had to be carved with a knife.
Yeah. Well,
But you weren't just wearing a sheep over you. You had the technology.
Hang on, how do you know they weren't?
At first.
you're gonna find out after you pull its hair out.
Yeah, this is nice.
Why were you holding it so hard? First of all, is my question.
Yeah. Oh god.
You know what I mean? Like, there you go. I'll let you guys think about that. Why'd you pull its hair out?
Turns out if you treat them nice, they keep you warm all night.
Yeah. Anyway,
Caveman Jordan's a scary Jordan. He's one I don't want to know. Yeah. We're all scared.
the layers of technology that like it takes to have a cell phone is undeniable. Like all of the things that went into it. Somebody had to invent glass. Somebody had to mine ore. Somebody had to like all the things that went into us being able to drink this beer is kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Right. And this is where we're at in the world right now. I can crack open an aluminum can that has plastic and some sort of chemical that changes these Mountain Blue.
Don't worry, it's fine for you.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the machinery that it took to make it, like, there's so much, not technology, hit me with it.
Technium.
And the technium.
Working together to make that can.
The technium that it took to make this can is absolutely unreal. And it's so cool to be in the world we live in right now that he paints the picture of because of all the different things. But make no mistake, we're moving at a faster and faster rate. Like, technology is, the more technology we get, the faster it moves. And it just creating...
Because technology used to be the physical matter created by that Big Bang, I think. Yeah. This isn't in the book, but...
No, but that's...
But where you're going is I think what you're seeing and why it frightens you is the tools that we have are evolving. It's not the organic things of life evolving at life's evolutionary speed.
The amount of time it took for those cells to split.
These are hammers evolving. These are nukes evolving. What this can potentially mean with our tools going this fast. Mm-hmm. And we're a rare breed of creating this or doing this. But it does seem like, once again, the arrow seems to be better with the more technology you have. Like you said, the King of France or King Henry,
7,000 items, and he had 6 in his house.
But he died of an infection where a $2 tube of antibiotic would cure what he had.
Yeah.
The most important
It was
things,
syphilis, by the way.
But the most important things you can have are the technologies. It's not the items. It's the closed loop systems as a whole working together. Mm-hmm. And as we as a species have gotten farther, our tools seem to have become alive. Not just us becoming more smart. It's like we're putting our life, this essence, this complexity, this ability to create order into something non-organic. The line gets blurred and it becomes organic. And that's the thing that it's like, I don't know that it's, but in that regard, everything's organic. And I don't like the thought of that, you know? It's like...
Well, if you think of organic, or I should say biological organisms as technology, then you're sort of acknowledging that there's a creator.
No, just life can exist. If you have the hardware and the ability, if you have a big enough...
Isn't technology defined as things we create in here?
Yeah.
Okay. Not just
so if we're going to call biology technology.
Not us as human, right?
But
everything is technology. The fact that leaves turn towards the fucking sun is technology, because there's a chemical in the plant that is
If we're calling that technology, then I think that
is
there's a
creation.
code.
yeah.
But that's what I
That
mean.
means there
Yeah.
must be a
The
creator.
technium
No.
is God.
Design
Well, there's a
this.
force. Just like gravity's a force, I think
Yeah, like-
evolution's a force. Does that mean there's a creator?
That's not a technology.
Yeah.
Then.
The force.
If
The
something has to
gravitational pull,
abide by the
gravity
rules.
is technology.
No, but yeah, exactly. If something has to abide by the rules of of gravity, that means something wrote it. That means there's something higher that's smart enough. I don't know if it's God or just consciousness, or I mean, you call
it
it
is.
whatever.
Both.
Yeah, maybe you have to just say if it's written in the code, it's written. Like if it can exist, it's written. I mean,
It must be.
yeah.
I agree.
But it's also like
So since we all agree, I have another thought.
yeah.
Which is that the reason we are seeing, like, in our adulthood, you and me, Mike, not Jordan.
Sorry, dude.
We saw
Whatever,
the sort of the introduction of electronic and
Yes.
computing technology.
Yes.
Whereas prior to that, everything in our lives was mechanical technology.
Yes.
And I wonder if we haven't gotten to.
We're talking to
I wonder if we've
Seamus
reached the
over here.
the apex of mechanical technology. We're watching the sort of ascension of electronic and computing.
Yes.
And there may be a third string of technology. We have no idea what that will be, that's coming in the next 20 years, that will be in its infancy 20 years from now.
Of course it will be.
You're right.
That's where I do
Of course
think
there probably
AI
must be.
Yeah,
will
there's
really-
going to be.
But AI is part of the electronics and computing.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that unlocks the potential
It'll be
the-
liquid.
for the next string.
It will be liquid.
but of even redefining mechanical technologies and understanding them with the ability to 3D print and have just, the processing of AI.
It will be liquid.
Yeah.
T1000,
T1000, yeah.
liquid metal cybernetics kinetics.
Look, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's gonna be
You might be
a
right.
bio made fucking machinery that is
Well-
being builds itself, and it will have its own DNA. People will create DNA and it will become a freaking thing, and it's going to be a computer, but it's going to be a actual moving organism that will take other technologies and build itself. They're already doing it.
They gave an example in this book. They gave computational structure to E. coli bacteria and used it for a breakdown to run a program, and it ran just like it would on a normal computer. It's called organic computing. Yeah, I mean, it exists, but that's why there's these same closed loop patterns.
I know it
These
was in the book.
Yeah. If evolution exists, why doesn't it exist on a technological level? So, if technology works in that same
But technology
facet,
does, because
what is it?
they talk about how
But what's the goal? Just like evolution. Some people say it's pure randomness, but it seems
It's
like
not.
there's inherent things like they said.
sending
the
an
eyeball
email.
had been created 6 times in the kingdom, of land animals, insects, ocean animals, birds, all your different genres, but then it's also been recreated different ways independently of each other. There seems to be things, and all right, I'm going to skip.
But that's
a bunch of
what he
shit
talks
you guys
about.
Don't care about.
That's what he talks
I'm
about.
going to
about
my divine matrix portion of this.
sending an email that goes out. They thought it was randomly going out, and that sometimes the email would get split up into 2 different sections of information and delivered on the lines. However the hell that works, it works, and it did its thing, and they thought it was all random. And then they started monitoring it and realizing that oh no, this is this technology is
Picking
evolving.
and choosing.
It's evolving.
Yes.
And it's
Giving order in the way
is-
it wants to
and
send and
yes,
receive.
and it's starting to create patterns.
Yes.
That it chooses.
Yes.
So that's kind of scary.
Or is it like that
Skynet.
cell evolving and it's like, I work
is.
better just doing this? Is that scary, or is that
It's
my
scary to
computer
think-
program's getting better? Does that necessarily mean nefarious?
Sure, it does.
I think it means nefarious
it's giving
because you
choice.
think it's out of control.
It is. It's out of our control because it's giving itself
but
choice.
a dog's
just like
out of my control.
Exactly.
But if I raise him right,
Yeah.
he's my best friend.
I have a hole in my leg.
He's my best friend.
I've got a hole in my pants.
I didn't say he's your best friend. He's my best friend. That was my little dog, not my guy.
Yeah, no, that one's on me.
Larry slept on. Dude, when
I
you
felt
passed
so
out
bad.
on the couch, I kept looking over and you're like, no. And Larry kept climbing higher and higher. Pretty soon I looked over, you're passed out, and he's passed out like on your head.
Yeah.
Like sprawled out.
It was funny. Like a cat.
Yeah.
But he's a
95-pound pit bull.
Okay, sorry. I keep hijacking what you're saying. I know
you're
you're trying to get through these crazy notes you got here.
Oh, we got all night. Click, click. Starts his car. All right. Let's blow through a little bit of this to get to your woo-woo stuff. All right. Best way to increase order is to have and to process that information. There's three types of societies: people gathering information, people compiling that information, and people exchanging that information and then coming up with new ideas from that. So I think that's kind of, that inherently goes towards like the growth of single cells to multi-cells. You look at what DNA is. I would say it's one of the most important discoveries, because what you see is inherently in every organism is ones and zeros: guanine, adenine, cytosine, and thymine, the nucleic acids in order that make up your genetic helix. So you are
you
Are you gay?
super. I'm gay for
I feel like
this.
you're talking to me, or you're telling me, but not talking to me.
I'm mansplaining the fuck out of this, dude. I'm trying to get through this book. So we see that through DNA.
It was a slog.
Yeah.
How many pages was this?
So many. So fucking many. Is it 370 or something like
I
that?
read this smiling. I'm like, hee, in my bathroom.
Yeah, it was maybe 360. 360.
I'll tell you what. What do they call that thing in the back of the book?
The end.
The glossary
The glossary?
or the index?
Yeah, well, the fact that it's got a fucking glossary and an index tells you something, boys.
That means it's a real book. Yeah.
I guess.
All right. So seeing that DNA was ones and zeros, what we're seeing is that inside of us all is coding. It's information. It's technology. If you want to change the complexity of someone, their DNA is going to change. What does that mean changes? The information inside them. There is a direct way to correlate what something is with the coding that's inside of them. So the parallels of life and technology, the wants in the direction of growth, increase of complexity, diversity, and evolvability. All of these things constantly inherently go together. If you look at how natural life works, just that same way that you go from single cell to multi things, you have digestive cells, you have neuron cells for brain and nervous, you have skin cells, you have cells for your eyes, I believe, that are their own specific thing. Everything is diverse of something
Literally
else.
everything. Your eyelashes are a specific cell.
Yeah. So everything has its own function, is different from something else, works very well on its own, but also works
Functions
together.
as part of the whole.
And you want to bring that whole back into it even more? Think about digestion.
But I still think biology is separate. We have to. I don't think biology is separate. I think if we're going to think of biology as separate from technology, then we need to. Or sorry, if we're going to think of biology as technology, we need to acknowledge a intelligent creator.
Just a force. Because I don't know if evolution's a force. Is that an actual force? Is technology a force?
I don't know.
I'm just seeing a lot of parallels in these systems. So I don't know if this leads me to somewhere, if this is its own thing, or like this leads to God.
I think fundamentally we're talking about the fact that he tries to call technology like the fourth kingdom of life, and it's like
seventh.
Sorry, it's like, no, dude, it's not. Or what are the three? Plants, animals, fungus. What are those things?
Bacteria, and there's two different types of bacteria, and then
4 or 5.
There might be multiple fungus and multiple bacteria that make up the other ones. And I think they cross over the virus.
I just thought it was ridiculous to try to compare it to life. It's maybe maybe in 100 years we'll be there, or maybe in 10. I don't know. But we're not there right now.
50 years.
But if you think of technology,
50 years from now, this would be a great book.
But if you think of technology as like, if you think of the technium idea of technology, a wheel is the first technology, or like that's
because it was one of the first things
if that plasma
a person created.
Yeah.
So what intelligent being created biology?
Well, sticks was the first thing somebody created. They picked up a stick.
Yeah.
And they said,
I can use it.
But before that, a thumb.
But if that's
the thumb came,
if that stick went to everything you see now, from space shuttles to satellites,
it literally did.
Wouldn't it seem like it's almost
it went from grabbing a stick to create
own...
yourself some claws, and they were like, "I need claws. I need to dig at something. I need to fry something." And then, guess what? They grabbed a stick. They were like,
"Then we're back to intelligent creation."
Picked up a fucking rock, and we're like, "Look at this hammer. Oh, you know what'd be cool? A real hammer." And then a hammer.
It's such a driving force and factor that everyone that wants to live that woodsy lifestyle will go to work, will go deal with the job, will put up with a system that inherently grows the system and aids and embeds it more.
In this book, hurt my heart a little bit because he was right.
Yeah. Are you talking about the Brazil thing you could leave?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Look, you can live whatever if you want to go back and live like they did in the 1800s, you can. Just give up everything that you would have that they had.
Yeah.
Just give it up.
You have the money to do it.
You
could sell your house. You'd have tons of money to live down in South America in the middle of nowhere. You could have all the necessities you need for your tools, and you can go live hunter-gatherer lifestyle. Go.
But that takes me back to being Seamus, because it's like, hey, look, I'm going to take on the technology. And he kind of shits on the, just a slightly, not in a backhanded way. No, not the Unabomber.
On technology?
No. Loves technology.
Yeah. Obviously. But he gave it up to ride that bike.
Cross Asia?
The America. I thought it was America, right? Across.
He spent 7 years in Asia. I thought he was riding bike. Maybe he was.
He was probably on a bike.
But he crossed America too.
Why wouldn't he be?
Go for it.
No, so the Amish, right?
Yeah.
He talked about the Amish and how some of them will give. They are behind the times in technology, and they only take on the technology. They kind of shun technology, and that's how I feel. It's like, you know what? I don't need all this new fandangled stuff, except for the stuff that I like.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of the way he was like, I was like, dude, this guy's kind of shitting on the Amish a little bit. He's like, they only take what benefits them, but within their group. And I really kind of liked it. Was within the Amish, society. And there's different levels of it, right? There's some people that are like, hey, you can have a car, but it has to be black and it can't have any chrome on it, because then you're going to just want more. It just creates this like wanting for more. But then they talk to an Amish kid.
Recognizing marketing as technology.
Yes. Well, they're recognizing the drive within themselves for how much more they want, right? Yeah. And that is technology, right? Is that force you were talking about. And they're fighting the force to be honestly, I don't know why they would do it. They're doing it for their leisure time and for what their beliefs are for society, and they're fighting it a little bit. So they're
selectively picking because they understand there are technology. It seems with that Amish
is evil.
No, you missed a couple things.
Evil. I didn't miss a goddamn thing. Yeah, I'm Seamus.
Yeah, well, Seamus, sit down and churn some butter, because those Amish.
I have a pneumatic pump for that.
They're semi-liberal, I'll think, in certain ways. Like if you look at Rumspringa, like they let their
so that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, they let their kids go nuts.
I'm on a Rumspringa.
Yeah, 12-year Rumspringa.
I've been on a run. I've been on a run. And they allow them to come back.
Yes.
Right? So they allow them to go see the world that they will be missing when they choose the life that they choose.
So they're kind of liberal in a certain way.
I don't know that that's liberal.
If your
I think
parents
that's
were
smart.
like, yes.
And I don't want to call that liberal.
But how many?
Because it's smart.
But how many hardcore Christian families have kids and they're like, hey, go do raves and all that and then come back and, it's like, no,
God will love
keep
you.
them away. It's
Regardless.
kind of liberal and open for the parents to be like, see the rest of the world. We're this one particular thing and we know it. Go see the world if you like it.
I think it's more pragmatic, and they know that if they don't give them that opportunity, then when they're 35, they'll be wondering if they fucked up.
Yeah, but
100%.
I'm just saying that in the same way that
don't let your daughter have a girlfriend. Guess what she's going to do?
Yeah.
She's going to blow the soccer team.
Whoa.
That's just what I heard. It's just what I heard.
Where are my cleats?
Yeah,
Did you say don't let your daughter have a girlfriend?
Don't let your daughter have a boyfriend. Sorry. Oh, okay. Whatever. A girlfriend either way,
These days.
Yeah, true.
Who knows? Who's who? I'm a woman.
I mean, if you had to choose, your daughter or your son to be gay, who are you choosing? You're choosing your.
What do you think, Nathan?
You're choosing your daughter. 100%.
She can borrow my white T-shirts and blue jeans.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
The less wieners you got to worry about, the better.
True story.
Yeah.
Back to the Amish. I think they're a little bit liberal, though, in the same way that, so,
You keep
like
saying
I
that.
said, Rumspringer, but them adopting technologies, they don't take everything on. They try everything out, and they see what fits best for
Well, they
their
don't try
life.
everything out.
Hang
Right?
on.
So
Hang on. How big of a black market do you think exists in the Amish community for all kinds of shit?
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Dude. Yeah.
Hang on, boys. I gotta.
Do you remember that show?
I got a money making scheme. I got a money making scheme.
Do you remember that show, the Amish Mafia?
We need a box truck and some fucking electronics.
Yeah.
And we're headed to Amish country. This could be a great action comedy movie.
You know what'd be even better is if they turn you instead of selling anything. You're just like, I love my pastel blue shirt and my black slacks with suspenders.
Well, they talk about how they have way more leisure time.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, the reality is when you get rid of all this noise, all this hubbub that is freaking technology, and you get back to like a little bit more of a trad life, it gives you time back.
Well,
which we are burning up faster and freaking faster, and that's another problem that I have with technology. Well, is that I inherently feel the stress of life based on the technology because I have to do things to keep it. I have to do things to get the new stuff. I am giving up my time to get technology, and I'm also giving up my time with technology, as opposed to sitting down around a campfire, whittling something with a knife and stick. Yeah. I am content
and enjoying that time.
I relax.
See, but this is where you're missing that point of the book.
Oh, what is it?
Like I said, they're liberal.
Fuck you, dude. One more time. Say it one more time.
They're liberal. They're open.
Technium.
It seems like they're constantly open to new things, but as soon as something comes, they try it out and they evaluate it.
Yeah,
they evaluate it because they learn there's a million technologies
that
out
steal
there.
your time.
What's going to be most beneficial for me and my people?
Yeah.
And I think that's a very important lesson. That's why he goes into the indigenous
I'm not
tribes
saying
and
don't
stuff.
try things.
No, I'm not saying.
I went to college.
No, what
Jordan,
we're saying
I had the
is
thought the other day that my iPhone is kind of shitting the bed on me, and I don't want to pay for a new one.
No, I want to
And
go
I
get
was
a
like,
flip phone.
I think I might just go get a flip
can't?
phone.
So what do you say?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think
they make it hard, but you know what else happens?
I think
technology never dies. Okay, so technology will never die, and you can still get that flip phone if you look hard enough. And in Europe, they do make them, and you can get them with no data plan, and it is something that you can still get. Right,
shit.
Just like those steam engines, just like a steam engine.
Go to the Boost Mobile
You
store.
just got to get online to get it. What? Did I say that?
Go to the Boost Mobile store and get a phone. They got them. You'll be the only white guy there, but go get one.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. You've
Whoa.
never been to a Boost Mobile?
You don't like Hispanic people, Mike?
My dad actually has Boost, so
Does he?
I think
Yeah. Love my Hispanic people. Best tacos.
best of tacos.
Best of tacos.
That's good technology.
No, but
that's just good technology.
Yeah. No, that's culture sex, which is technology.
Damn.
Yeah.
Culture
Well,
sex.
that's
but
honestly.
no, you're
so
hitting a
like,
good point. You're hitting a very good point. Like
Yeah.
it's like
Some would call it the G point.
Yeah, the T point, the technium point. You need to learn. Everyone does. Like, just because things exist, you need to know. Just because it's out there, I don't need to use it. And when you see how it's not about the single thing, it's about everything as a whole. You kind of start to see where you sit and where this sits, and things are just out there to grab you like ads. Are you the type of person that drives down the street and they're like, oh, Vern Fonk Life Insurance. Oh, Geico. I'm going to buy that. Oh, Charmin Ultra. I need that toilet paper. No, things are constantly going to be coming out there. The idea with this book is to see that this is almost like an entity and that technologies are always going to be cropping up. And they do seem to put our life on a better trajectory. Just the same way that you're not just going to go live in the jungles of South America. You have a lot of good and opportunity. But could you imagine finding a wife down there? Like sorry, children present. The friggin' ragdoll faced women. She'll look like her face will look like a piece
How
of
old are you?
stone.
18.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll be 16 and her face looks like a granite face on a mountain. Just weathered.
I think so. I think it'll be the opposite.
Have you seen? Remember that?
Why?
Meat
Because
eater?
they're living in this society. That lady was probably 90. She was probably 98 years old.
Didn't understand what they were saying.
Might have been 102, and looked 45.
That was her prom queen, dude. Living a jungle life is hard to live.
A jungle life's hard to live, but guess what? There's something.
If you had to go live in Colville, where we went turkey hunting,
yeah.
How long before you started looking pretty
cars?
bad? Yeah.
What's that? Oh, dude, I honestly, I think there's something to that for certain people. I don't think it's right for everybody, but I do think that certain people have a pull to live a lifestyle that like they don't get to live in this time. Like I think there's people of old that live currently that would have succeeded far more had they been alive in the 50s and lived that life. Like, I feel like if I was in the 50s, probably would have been good. You know, I think the technology was right. I could have gotten behind a little bit of it. But things are going so fast for me right now. And just like the way, like, constant new things are coming up. He says, like, technology is the things that are invented after you're alive, after you're born. And that's why I think when I look back on old technology, I get it. I understand it. I feel good about it. But as things keep coming and coming and coming, it's like,
what do you get lost with in technology? Like what
the vast changing of the world.
That's the world. That's not technology.
That is technology.
But it's being thrown in your face more. The world's always been fucking nuts.
I think what it is that technology is taking increasingly more control of our lives, and we are not controlling it.
It's speeding up. That entropy from the first cell to the second cell probably took hundreds of thousands of years or more, billions of years, right? But now we've gone from getting the Al Gore's internet to what we have now in less than 20.
But that doesn't affect me. What affects me is
but I'm telling you what affects me.
To the nuclear bomb.
That's what I'm saying.
Years,
that's what I'm saying. But guess what? The nuclear bomb was invented way back then.
Yeah, but the internet doesn't affect me. It doesn't get me.
But that is what I'm saying. Is some people are different, right? So what you don't feel as something that is you. Like, oh my gosh, this doesn't, like, it doesn't register.
But it doesn't.
For me, it does. And that's what I'm saying is like, I look at it and I go, fuck. And it's not just the internet, right? That's an example. I'm just saying like, we went from having 2 cells, took billions of years to 2, or 1 cell turned to 2 in billions of years. And now we're in.
I can't drive 20 miles without having my GPS on. That's where we've gotten to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we've gone. It's going faster and faster
And I
and
don't
faster.
mean me. I mean, there's a lot.
No, Tobin Falk. I've seen it.
But hang on, I did not
his,
realize until recently how many people need that GPS thing on, telling them where to turn.
Yeah.
To go very short distances, like less than 30 miles.
I turn it on for the time. Because I see what it says for the direction. It's like, I go back roads. I bet you I beat that. And I always come in 20 minutes late. So
fuck. Got me again, Google.
Yeah. What does technology want?
Yeah, our souls.
Gotta try and game the system, boys.
Dude, sometimes those things will fuck you up.
That's why Waze took off.
I'll take a route that's like, don't go this way. Stick to the main corridors, and I'll kind of shoot over here, and all of a sudden, like, I see the time drop, and I'm like, son of a bitch. Yeah. These motherfuckers been lying.
I like it. You're like, it's like, go straight on the road ahead. And you're like, if I take a right, I know a little side road. I'm going to go for it. And as soon as you turn right, it goes, recalculating. 6 minutes added to your trip. You're like,
Yeah. But sometimes it's less. I've had it go less, and it's like, these bastards. But I think there was like something to do with Waze. Like stores were, I don't know if it was Waze or a different like
Waze
thing,
was,
but they were getting paid to make traffic go in front of storefronts.
Oh.
So they were like, direct them this way and make sure that they're passing.
Yep.
Like technology.
that's not technology. That's man.
So that's
technology.
So that
everything is technology.
That is what is concerning
Greed.
to me about the technium is the manipulation of it by humans and even AI. So like, remember when Google a couple months ago released its AI and people were asking it like, hey, show me a photo of this. And everything was black people. Because obviously,
Nazis.
It's not intelligent and actually coming up with its own answers. It's coming up with what it's programmed to come up with. And so artificial intelligence is not true intelligence. It's not alive. It's not sentient. It's not conscious.
That's why I said at the beginning, get rid of the bias of man, though. If you think of this as, if you're getting rid of like biases and you're just trying to give it information, like I said, data, like the DNA, you're just trying to give it the data of the situation. You're not trying to plug in biasy. That's how you create the greatest tool ever.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But that's what technology is going to get there, right?
No, man's influencing.
Well, but
it
he has said that technology is what's going to save technology. And at some point, there's going to be technology that takes away the bias of man. And at that point, guess what? Man's not going to be fucking involved. And technology is going to be organic, or technology is going to be, it's bio, whatever the hell, like it's going to be its own thing. Just like, and we've seen with the email getting sent and it's choosing its own path, that is going to be on a massive scale, and technology will build technology and we will have nothing to do with it.
Yes, but I also feel like,
or technology, like, and you know what I mean? Like software will create software, which will create software, which will build actual machinery, and then that machinery will be building more machine. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like at some point we will get to that point where things are just going to be happening that aren't human. And I do have a problem with that because we are apex right now. And
but all your cars are not made by humans.
You're missing my point. Cars are being made by humans.
How much of their hands are being put on? They're overseeing it, but those are programs and robots putting it together.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's not a man making this car.
It's a man.
It's a man hitting start.
Yeah,
That's not making a car.
Well, it's the only way we do it now, right? And again, like I said, I feel I belong fucking 50 years ago when man was making cars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where I get things and I feel comfortable. And the further we go forward, the more I'm like, this is getting fucking out of control.
You're right. It is an uncomfortable feeling as we go forward. That's probably the best way to say it is I'm with Jordan. 50 years ago when
and I keep saying 50
everything
years ago like it's
with hands, I think
1950. It's not.
yeah, it's only like
1970s.
70s.
Still, things were made by hand, and I think I would feel a lot more comfortable there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Back when pubes were in, dude.
Well, what about TVs? Do you care if a
Mustaches,
TV is
long
made
hair.
by hand?
I
robot?
don't know. Like
I don't own a TV.
Okay, cell phone, computer, this thing.
I think we'd be better off without cell phones. But then, how would people listen to our podcast in the car?
Are you kidding?
See,
Don't listen to this guy.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a double-edged sword.
And that's why I'm a really a shitty Amish guy because I love my cell phone.
Yeah,
I love watching movies on it. I love entertainment. I do enjoy the things, right? And I have, ever since I was a little kid, dreamt of a time I could have a screen literally the size of an iPhone that I could watch movies on.
Oh, no
playing
shit.
a game. Oh, when I was a kid, all I wanted was my Game Boy to play movies.
No shit.
I was like, this would be so sweet. And then slowly over time was like, it's happening. And then like the first phone came out, the first smartphone came out. And it was like, oh my gosh.
That was
Like,
so
and this
honest.
is truly like,
Do you guys want to come over to my house and watch Goonies?
Yeah.
We all show up and he's got his iPhone.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys, sit close.
snuggle in, boys.
Get in the blanket for it real quick.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was like I was just I'd be in bed and I wanted to watch a movie and I was like, man, it'd be so cool if this Game Boy could play movies. And like the graphics got better and better and better. And pretty soon it was like I remember when I got into high school and that the PlayStation, that PS whatever the hell handheld thing, the PSP. When the PSP came out, I was like, yo, this has a DVD that is tiny and you can put it in it and watch movies. This is unreal. And I didn't have one. I was like, man, that's
for rich kids.
At some point that's gonna be cool. And then all of a sudden every freaking cell phone you can download Netflix and play the Goonies or whatever you want to watch, right? That is the technology that I enjoy that we have now. But it also sucks you in, like, I don't even know.
Okay, so
like
that's what I'm saying.
Prom date.
Is for a long time, iPhones were free or damn near free if you re-upped your contract with the provider. They don't do that anymore. So now everybody's addicted to having this
$1,000.
touch. Yeah, well, I think it's more. I think it's like $1,200 or $1,500. And so that's why I was like, do I really care that much? Can I just go back to a flip? I kind of think I could just go back to a flip phone.
It is, but
there's
that's
something
people
nice.
though, because that phone is $1,200, but you wait 6 months. How much is it? Half. You go a year. If you go an iPhone generation down, you get it for peanuts.
Where do you get them though?
But that's
They don't sell them
Online anywhere.
I don't want to buy a used phone. God knows.
No,
what's
you
on
can
it.
buy them new still.
I don't think you can.
yeah. I think you can get like last year's model.
Yeah, but
or whatever.
only like one or two
If it-
generations.
yeah,
you're
but that's-
talking about going from $1,700 down to $1,200.
No.
No,
I don't know.
crazy.
I haven't looked.
Stuff
into
gets old, it gets cheap.
I don't even want to spend $300 on a phone.
Ah, man, I love my big ass phone.
Do you?
Yeah.
it. So that's the thing is like there are technologies, the Technium. All the things that are adding, and this is why I say I'm Amish, because he kind of went hard in the paint on them a little bit. He was like, they pick and choose, just like me.
But that's
I want
beautiful.
to pick
You
and
should.
choose. Yeah, well, and that's technology.
You
It's
should
the choice.
pick what
I want a
technology-
Grants Forest Brook hatchet.
Yeah.
And I want a 1
And I
through
got
8
one.
with a red dot on my fucking AR-15.
Yeah, I
But
want
we're-
some night vision.
But that AR-15, that's fine.
After
We're-
night vision, that's it. I'm
But
done.
That's where we draw the line. No thermals.
This is an important thing, though, that I think everyone misses. It's like, yes, to me, technology is a thing that's a force, and it keeps going. But just because it exists doesn't mean you have to take in everything. What you need to do as a human being, why he says more technology is good, like that Beethoven example, is because Beethoven, it seems, really expressed himself through the piano. Without having that, what the fuck is the point of his
what if
life?
Beethoven would have
So-
ripped on turntables?
Maybe. Wicca wicca?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But so what's the point of living if you don't have the tool that really grabs you, motivates you, fulfills you?
How do you know that Mike Kozak's
drives you?
tool doesn't exist today? Maybe you're being held back, brother.
But that's what I mean. So for me, I have found the tools in my life, the technologies that really work. I online game. I'm not going to
that's why
online game
this is a bullshit
drive.
point, because people who exist in whatever time, they find the technology of the time that works for them.
Yes.
But some don't. Some don't, and they live in obscurity their whole life.
But you're going to have drug addicts. You're going to have people that fuck their lives up on cheeseburgers, on cell phones, on anything.
Yep, on rocks.
It's not Cam Patterson. He never fucking up on rocks. But that's the point, is to figure out how to maximize your life the most with the technologies that are available. And then also shut out the technologies that are available that negatively impact your life.
And that self-control is important. But the thing is you're never going to touch all the technology, or you're never going to utilize it or give it a fair look unless you're exploring it. And honestly, I think that we're going to get to a point where there's so many different things that for you to truly experience it, you won't. I went paragliding, and I was like, this is it. This is all I want to do. That is 100% all I wanted to do. I was like, I'm going to get my license. I'm going to go to Utah. I'm going to do all these certifications. That was it. That's one technology that absolutely could have been, and I never pursued it. But
Dude, don't do that to me, Jordan. I'm joking here.
But there's
I
so
never
many.
touched it again.
That's the thing. Is like there's so many things like that, though, right? You
But
ever go
apparently
scuba
it
diving?
didn't grab you enough.
It did. It grabbed me
To
real
do it once.
No, well, yeah.
Yeah,
it did.
everything's hit hard.
But that's the thing, is like,
Yeah.
you'll never experience all the things that truly, like, unless you go out and seek all these things. But everybody gets so caught up in this mundane, like, I have to work in order to pay for technology. And at some point you get sucked into one, like your fucking cell phone bill, and now you're paying $200 a month for cell phones, and you're paying $1,500 a month or $1,500 for the newest cell phone, and you have to do that fucking every 9 months. And so pretty soon technology locks you in unless you shed it all and are willing to say, hey, no, none of this. I want to see what it's like to get on a boat and go deep sea fishing. Okay, that'd be really cool. Or I want to try this bow thing out, this new fandangled technology called a bow, or just different things like that. And there's so many experiences in life you can actually have, but the way technology is moving so fast, it's like, hey, stop, slow down. There's too much. Like, give me a little less. I need a little less so I can experience more of it to feel like I'm living a full life. Because until I have this rounded opportunity to go out and actually check things out, you don't feel like you're living. Because you know there's so much more out there, and you're not able to hit it all.
Yeah, but I feel most of the technologies are hidden. Like, it's like,
but that's where you got to scratch the surface.
Coffee pot that starts itself, your alarm that goes off, your phone that works.
That's not
power.
That's because that's your mind telling yourself what technology is. It's not that.
But
it's
those
paragliding. Go paragliding. Go climb that fucking tree up there.
Yeah, but
that's technology. And these are the things that, like, go climb a mountain. There's so many things that are in life, and I think of, like, experiences, and that is all experiences are technology. All of your experiences are technology.
Yeah.
So until you, like, there's just so fucking much that it is hard to, that's why, like, I look back at the 80s and it's like, man, there was like 4 movies.
But all
awesome.
Yeah.
Watch them all.
The Goonies, The Lost Boys,
The
E.T.,
only thing that didn't exist
There's
back
10
then,
actors. Yeah.
the only thing that didn't exist back then was small electronics and the internet. Everything else that you want to do already existed in that time, as well as now, and it's even easier to go online, book
Parkour
appointments. No, that's an art. There's people jumping off stuff forever.
They didn't call it parkour.
Yeah, but now they do. But there's people doing it. And now it's even easier to find those people that are into parkour, right? So it's like, I don't get what is such a,
I don't want to stop technology for you. I want two-step technology for me. And my rejection is I want to be on a bicycle, and I want the technology to be in the bicycle. So I want new suspension. I want new tires. I want new handlebars. I want all the cool stuff within that. That's cool to me. But when all of a sudden it is stuff that I just can't grasp and understand, it's like, I don't get it. I don't want to be a part of it. And that's where it's not, I guess, when I'm using the wrong word as like, I don't want technology or I don't like technology. It's, I don't give a shit about all the stuff that's happening outside, but it grabs me though. And that's the other thing is like, it pulls me in, and then my time gets so limited because I have to pay for these things that next thing you know, it's like, I guess it's just the choice of saying,
like
hey,
services?
stop. Yeah, services. They're just little things, right? Like, but they add up. And then pretty soon it's like, oh, well, I need a new car.
I need to restring my bow.
I can't.
So I need a couple $100 or whatever it is. And I need new arrows. So now I got to, you before you know it, you're locked into a full-time job to have all the things.
I want a car.
But back in the day,
I want a car.
You would have had to make your own bow.
What happens?
Shave your
I get
arrows. It's way easier.
Yeah, but
the ability to
what's way easier? What's way
was.
easier for me to get in my car, drive to Seattle, work for 40, 50, 60, 70, 250 hours to afford one of these fucking bows, or to have my granddad sit down and over the course of a day teach me how to make it? What's easier?
Or the course of 3 weeks.
Or whatever. Either way. But what's easier? What's easier? Was it him?
Do you remember
telling
Tyler's
me how
metaphor
to do it?
of someone saying like, "Hey, old lady, why are you chopping all that wood?" And she said, "I need to make a fire to make tea." And they said, "That seems like a lot of work to make a fire to make tea." And she said, "Well, it seems like a lot of work to drive in and out of the city every day to make enough money to pay for electricity to make tea."
Yeah. So at some point, like, it's just, what do you want to do with your time? And I feel like my time is so limited because there's so much technology, and I'm limiting it more and more because.
But then it goes back to that, like the Brazil thing. There's never been a time that's easier to sell a house, to find the tools. It's never been cheaper. You did this 100 years ago, you would have had to take a ship or train halfway and boats. Like, you want to be primitive, go live in the Amazon. It has never been easier. But no one you're not abandoning it.
No, the problem is
it stresses you and you don't understand
a couple hundred
why,
years ago,
you don't abandon
I wouldn't have known there was an Amazon, so I wouldn't have given a shit. But guess what? Now I know there's an Amazon.
So you think because the ability...
Because I know
just
more.
Know.
It's just, there's more out there for you.
So that it keeps you...
Fuck yeah. Because it keeps you wondering. It's like, it's more options. Right? Yeah. You go into a freaking meat shop and you go in and it's like, okay, there's 300 hot sauces in here. Which one am I going to get? The one with the coolest label, obviously. But now I got to spend 35 minutes looking through fucking labels as opposed to going to a place that had...
You're crazy, dude.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But that's where I'm at. And it's like...
I would rather have a neighbor who made hot sauce. And I could just go get a jar.
Yeah.
No,
you know
I'd rather go every 2 weeks and buy a bottle. When I come in here 2 weeks, I'm going to try this. 2 weeks later, I try that. That's the point of life, is over the span to see and try the new ones.
Yeah.
And then you say, hey,
but my body's breaking down faster and faster.
I'm on the back nine.
I'm doing all this stuff, and it's like, man, that'd be really cool. And it's like, when you were fucking 10, I want to go snowboarding.
Jordan, you're the youngest here.
I got miles.
You got city miles?
My mom is in her 70s. She goes skiing with us.
Good for her, dude.
Let's see her single leg guy.
Humble brag.
Yeah. You got no excuse.
My boy's got a lot of city miles on his body.
Yeah. There's a couple dents. Got a couple dents.
It'll buff out.
Yeah, she'll buff out.
But that stresses you guys. Does it stress? But like,
it doesn't. I guess.
I know the world's crazy, and I feel
it's
a lot of.
I don't think I should be spending. I don't think life is correct when we're spending an hour every morning and an hour every evening just sitting in traffic.
Yeah,
that's
that's stress,
and that to me is the biggest indicator that things are all fucked up. Like when I have to drive, I literally commute 80 miles a day. 85 miles a day, something like that, round trip. Like, we shouldn't be going that far.
But it's hard to not when you know the opportunity is there.
Yeah.
So you take the opportunity because you know it's there, and you're going to go do it. What's the it just, the more you know, it's like
You just think
whatever's
the what
bliss,
ifs.
right? Like,
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss, and that's a true statement. Like,
Yeah.
I do
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that at some point it's like there's so much, and I don't know what I don't know, but I know that there's a shitload out there. You know what I mean? Like, and it just keeps adding, and it's not just like the physical things, right? It ends up being like, I do not get on more than, I don't know, 5 websites, something like that. You could probably name them.
Yeah.
And that's it, right?
Pornhub, YouPorn. What are the other 3?
Only boys,
Only boys.
wet boys.
Yeah. And I started Token's
boys.
Grinder account.
Big
Big
boys.
black boys. Yeah.
But that's the thing, is like,
Have I told you guys the story of my? Have I told you the story of my Snapchat account
no, you had a
No.
Snapchat.
for about a week?
Okay.
And so someone explained, it was explained to me that you send a photo, and when someone looks at it, they see it, and then it goes away.
Yeah.
It's like, perfect. So I got a Snapchat account, and I used it to send my brother pictures of my butthole. And then he blocked me.
Not before you
And then-
saved it.
Yeah,
Sent it.
and then I had no more reason to have a Snapchat account.
See, but I feel you're using technology in the ways that benefit you.
Yeah.
This is a good example. I didn't feel any stress from that. And imagine if that wasn't
Hey,
around.
Evan.
You would have
Good
to.
morning.
You would either have to have film developed or take a Polaroid and send it in the mail. Now,
but that's where I think it would have been more meaningful.
more effort put in.
Maybe I should do that. Yeah. He blocked me on Snapchat, so now I'll just use USPS.
Dude, I can't wait for his Merry Christmas 2024 card. Oh, Tobin sent me something. How nice.
Season's greeting, bitch.
Yeah. Deck the halls. Lick these balls.
Son of a bitch.
All right, speed break time.
Feedback.
And we're back.
What does technology want and what does Tobin want? I saw you thumbing through those pages. Mm-hmm. Did you mark some interesting statements?
I highlighted a bunch of shit. Want me to read you one?
Yeah.
Let's just open it. See what we come up with here.
See what we come up with here.
Bunch of highlighter marks, I see.
Here we go.
Oh.
So a major design feature of what is arguably the world's most advanced transportation system was determined over 2,000 years ago by the width of two horses' arse. I think he's talking about the
Cart.
width of railroad tracks.
Cart, railroad tracks,
Yeah.
roads,
so
sidewalks.
the width
yep.
of a train in 2024 is based on a rough measurement of two horses' hindquarters in, who knows, a couple hundred years ago.
Why do you think that is? Because I have an idea.
What do you mean? Why do you think that is?
Why do you think it's still that same width?
Because over time, as they evolve technology, they use old standards
Yeah.
to adapt to what already exists, to
Do you think it's
infrastructure that
standards
already
or
exists.
it's a ratio of weight and center of gravity? They find with
No,
a wide
get that out
enough
of here.
base.
Shut the fuck
Nope.
up.
It has to do with infrastructure that already exists.
Yeah, they go.
Don't even try.
So that reminds me of the story where this family recipe goes for cooking this ham. Right, you cut one side of the ham, and then you cut the other side of the ham, and you cut it off, like 2 inches of it off. And don't know why you do it, but that's how you do it. And that recipe had been passed down generation to generation, and they're like 4 generations back now. And they're like, well, this is how my mom cooked it. Okay, well, this is how my mom cooked it. Okay. And then the great granddaughter is like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why do we cut the ham like this to cut it down? So she goes and asks her great grandmother. She goes, oh, because my pan's too small. So she just cut down the ham, you know,
Make
and
it
it's
fat.
like, but everybody carries that on as a standard, and it never really needed to be there because they don't think past that. So yeah, to what you're saying is those horses, that's how wide they were. Don't think more.
It's my ham.
It's the ham, dude.
It's the ham. Yeah, I mean, but then you're trying to delineate between what is heritage and what is fact. I mean, you're going to get a lot of data, and that's where
I don't mean
back
we
in
need
the
to drill
day-
down on that, Mike. I'm just saying that was the first one I
Yeah,
came
you're
across that
good.
was highlighted.
What's the one with the little ear note?
Here's another one. It says, where do wealthy people travel to? Places that retain differences. What eateries attract customers? The ones with distinctive characteristics. So he's talking about how people like to go on people who are of wealth and means, affluent, like to go to primitive places to take their vacation because they like to get away from all of the technium.
Well, they like to explore more,
unplug, but
more
their life
technium.
is
They're not getting away from it. They're finding new ideas.
Well, and it's like you take this, and I think about a lot of books I've read about.
And I didn't like that part. I didn't like how he was like trying to say like, oh, these rich people mean they're smart and they're going to places that are of this, like they have. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm just on one of them.
I think they mean they're trying to.
They like to go experience life as it's supposed to be.
I don't think
That's
that
kind of what I think.
I got out of it was
Read that again. Say that exactly.
I closed the book. I don't
shit.
fucking know where it is.
page 236.
If I remember
A
correctly.
beautiful mind over here.
I'm not going to come up with it.
Yeah.
Go to 236.
236. Okay, hang on. Let's see what we get. This would be so amazing.
It's riveting pod. Yeah, I'm excited. Hang on.
Nothing highlighted on page 236, but let's read you
A passage.
yeah, let's read you a passage of this fucking nonstop thrill ride. I know the Amish and Wendell Berry and Eric Brend and the Minimites well enough to know they believe we don't need exploding technology to expand ourselves. They are, after all, minimalists. The Amish find incredible contentment in their enactment of a fixed human nature. This deep human fulfillment is real, visceral, renewable, and so attractive that Amish numbers are doubling every generation. But I believe the Amish and the Minimites have traded contentment for revelation. They have not discovered and cannot discover who they can become. This is from one of the more exciting chapters of the book.
Yeah, this is actually
This is one of the good chapters.
But I mean, that goes to, and like what I was saying earlier, it's like you find the technologies that work and apply to your life. And it's like, so if you were never open to anything, you don't know the possibility of the human you can become. We all train sports. It's like, well, when you lift, you want to take protein powder. I mean, that's kind of a technology. Without it, you're not maximizing to your full
Oh,
potential.
the powder is definitely a technology.
Yeah. So it's like how many things in life exist that if we don't utilize them, that we know of from past experiences or knowledge or information passed down, if you don't use it, you're being the fool, right? And it doesn't mean just because information exists, you have to use it. There's all kinds of things that exist in vitamins that I don't fucking take. You know, maybe I'd be a little better for it, but in my life, I kind of gravitate towards what makes me feel better, what I think performs best, and what makes me happiest. And that's the same thing for a cell phone, a video game system. It's like you have to understand that there's a smorgasbord out there of technologies, and you're at this buffet. Pick what works best for you. You go to Old Country Buffet, you eat all that ice cream and mac and cheese, you're not going to feel good. But you try and eat some of that frozen broccoli and tilapia, you'll probably be a little bit better because you're understanding what works best for you.
But that's the thing.
But they got that soft serve machine.
Because
and I'm looking at the Oreo cookie crumble fucking topping.
Yeah.
And a little bit of chocolate sauce.
That's what it is,
Put
right?
Jimmy's on it.
That's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's you got that, which is like, you know, social media, and it's like you just want to eat it, and once you start eating it, it's hard to stop. But then you look over here, and it's like there's some fried chicken over there. and I don't even know what okra is.
Ranch dipping.
You know what I mean? Like there's so much different
Hush
stuff
puppies.
out there, and it's like you're never going to get a chance to see it all. That's the craziest thing to me. Remember how we were talking the other day, and it was like the older I get, the less firsts I experience, and that is a fucking scary, scary thought.
Yeah.
That at some point you get so stuck in your way, and it's not that I want to be, it's just that my life, my technology, I bought a house, right? So that's a technology that I want, right? So I'm trying to keep it. So I have to go to work for it. And I am constantly working for that one thing that I got because that's what I wanted. I understand, and I'm lucky to have it. But like, it does keep me from exploring other options, right? Like, part of me before I got that, I was like, I just want a sailboat. I'm just gonna live on a sailboat, buy a slip,
true.
rent a
But
slip.
also that house you have over the time of having it has probably provided you more
pros or
to
cons.
have more experience of living on that sailboat. You're probably closer now because of taking on that.
But at what point are you call it?
See,
good,
but that's
right?
where
And
you have to learn who you are. Yeah,
Well, that's what I mean,
Where do I
right?
pull the
So,
plug and say I'm going to buy that boat?
Yeah, but that's the like I'm saying like you get in these ways, and it just keeps you from moving on to the next thing, and it's scary to like realize that at some point you wake up and you're like, I've done the same thing every day for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And now I lost 15 years. And what technology certainly isn't is time. And when that time is gone, it is gone.
Yeah.
So it's scary to think that there's more and more technology that is being created and there is less and less time to see it or experience it
Or use it,
and
put it to
truly
use.
fully use it. Like not dip your toe in it, but immerse yourself in it. Right.
See, but I
and
think
you find different things in life that like really draw you in. We all do jujitsu here, everybody in this house, and it's great, and it pulls you in, and it's positive, and everything you want comes from it, and it's creating this thing. I've never done, some other sort of Wang Chung fucking, McJojo shit that like I could really enjoy, right? There could be a real big benefit,
So hang on,
but I'm never going to get
hitting
to
on,
it.
You're hitting on maybe what might be a really important point, which is that if a technology frees you up, if it requires, or I should say, if it gives you the ability to accomplish a task using less energy, then it's benefiting you because you're putting less into
And that's the
whatever
Amish
product. However, if you are putting your energy into that technology, think scrolling Instagram or sitting on YouTube for hours and hours and hours. Now you're giving your life force to that thing. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe the crucible or the turning point where the why in the road where you decide, do I participate in this? And to what extent is, am I taking something from it or am I just giving into it?
Well, I think sometimes it's a little bit of both.
But it can be anything. It doesn't have to be your cell phone. I said, it's the house, it's
Yeah.
the car, it's the insurance.
Right. And so the house especially,
the
you're going to give into it, but you're also going to take from it. Yes. And
in a certain degree.
yeah,
No.
having been borderline homeless fucking 6 months ago, I can tell you that having a place that is yours is invaluable. This house that we're sitting in to me is everything.
But also that house, you playing that technology of the marketplace, of the system, of having real estate and real estate agents and loans, all of that built together. Your ability now, after owning that house for years, you have more capital. If you wanted to really sell that house and pursue the sailboat, if you want to pursue that
you could probably buy the
sustenance
sailboat
life,
straight up.
you can go ahead and do it. You are more free because of having all those other things than if you just worked at your job trying to save money.
Yeah. It's a big investment.
No, I guess I see what you're saying.
Because it's real property. There's
and
certain
I
things
guess
that are worth
perspective.
that have real value. Land has value. This structure, things that keep you warm, feed you, provide your base needs, have real value.
Which is odd that those are all the things that the government really wants to fucking control.
Because that's
Weird,
the
right?
most important. Got
Weird.
tax you, baby.
Yeah, I perspective, right? It's all perspective and like how to shift it. Like you have a really, I guess, good look on it, and I look at certain things and I get stressed out, and I'm like, hey, what I really want to do is just sit around a campfire with a, hatchet.
I don't get stressed out. I think
I know you don't, and that's what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying. You have a
zero.
Spicoli doesn't even notice.
No
not
emotion.
even. That's my skull.
Yeah. No emotion. Yeah. No, I mean, it's
Let's dig into these notes here.
Oh, dude, you don't want to go back. You want to do extropy versus
Nope.
entropy?
Sure
no. Parallels of life.
Well, let me just hit that for you.
Yeah.
Extropy, not order, right? It's a lack of order. It's chaos, and then extropy.
I thought you said extropy first.
He did, but
Sorry.
Entropy.
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 Yeah.
Lack of order. Extropy. Nazi-like lines.
Systems. Stars being made from gases.
That wasn't cursive. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
I'm talking Mike.
Yeah. No, but that's stars being created. That's new elements being created.
Yeah.
That's systems and loops. The more something is specialized, unified, and diversified
I
towards
speak Kazakhstan.
its closed loop, that
Kozaki.
is how a system becomes more efficient, and also it lowers entropy. Like there's more order in that closed system, like an air conditioner.
Yeah, we must
in the
become,
full
regardless
system.
of
And
what
with
all
that
the
comes
fucking
freedoms,
Greenpeace
which
freaks
is
say,
weird.
we must becoming more efficient. And that was an
Yeah, we're
interesting
not
section.
burning
Yeah,
coal.
where he talks about the wealth of monarchs, 300 years ago versus the average middle income person today. And it's like, oh shit, yeah, we are drowning in wealth.
Yes.
We just don't acknowledge it.
Well, and that's why I say it's important. Like there has to be an arrow that you look at this through.
Yeah.
All of this, just like time has this linear progression, it seems that tech and technology in this closed system parallels a lot in the natural world, like evolution, biology, forming of planets, our solar system. There are so many parallels that technology seems to have on the same curve that represent life. And so for me, when I really hit this home and try and think about that, it makes me wonder, is this a force like you're saying earlier? So you're saying there's a God. It's like, well, maybe, but maybe like the Greek style of polytheism, where you have all kinds of influence. It's not just one. It's you have the force of gravity, you have the force of technology, you have the force of evolution. And because they're forces, they mirror each other in a lot of ways and have a lot of resemblances. Like I said, this doesn't answer questions, but it asks
These are
the
like
right
cosmic forces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The things that propel the universe forward. That life, everything.
Yeah. Life and society.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's so important to think about this as like technology and the technium. Technology is the small, technium is
The whole.
the broader, the group.
Well, it's the conglomerate. Everything working together. It's not individual. It's the composite.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how it evolves together. And when a system works in a hierarchy, it seems like there's driving forces, right? Like that bee colony. Like they know to be bees. They know to communicate. They know to build structure.
Yeah. How long did that? Like a week and a half? Is that so how long the bee colony was working together?
I have a bunch of wax.
See, but that's man.
That structure was being built,
that's politics.
and the foundations fell. That one's on me. So there was a little less organization in there than I liked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a week. It was probably 2-3 weeks I had those bees. I was a real farmer for there.
But those bees create a lot of order. And when order comes up in life, it's very interesting. And that's why I say focusing on the small is interesting, because matter matters. Oh, that's a bumper sticker.
There you go.
That's a Kozak shirt. Matter matters. It's not because those things working together as a whole is what creates it. Like all that hydrogen to create the star. If that wasn't there, it wouldn't be important. So it's like, is there some collective that's pushing or driving? I like to think in my head, like in that first book, The Arrow of Time, it's like everyone says, yes, time is pushing forward. But it's like, is it pushing or is it being pulled? Like, are you being drawn into the future and you're navigating your direction?
Time through
just the same way with technology. Yes, eventually a robot will exist, but we can dictate how it exists. We're not pushing it, we're pulling it in the right directions as we're setting up the components for more diversity, independence, codependence, creating a system on its own that has its own entity, its own life, its own drive, its wants. It's these things that it inherently goes for, which seem to kind of benefit off of us. Like we're saying, we all have the potential to go live hunter-gatherer in South America or in the mountains, but we're not. We're doing this because it seems to provide a little better life for children, for friendship, for doing hobbies, to go to work and then focus on that. Yes, I could go live in the mountains and bow hunt every day, but it's like if I'm going to be cold all the time, I'm going to have all these things that frustrate me and don't elevate my life to where I want it to be.
Well, it's interesting because we're born into technology, right? We're born into a system, an order that we can't necessarily.
It's hard to escape.
You can't. Yeah. You can't. If it is. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but
it's hard.
I think it's illegal. I think there'd be people after you if you just went into the woods and said, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to take the technology I have and I'm going to leave. I'm going to go into the mountains and call it good. I'm going to take my Ted Kaczynski style, you know.
Seamus.
I'll come. Yeah. Seamus Kaczynski here.
But that's a hard life to live. I mean, throughout time, that's been known as a hermit or a recluse. And it's like, that guy just that? But then, have you looked into that guy's life a little bit?
Who's that?
Kaczynski?
Not really, no.
No.
Dude, he was part of some sort of weird LSD trials back in the day.
Oh, MK Ultra?
I don't think it was that, but it was close.
I think he actually was.
But yes, he was involved with stuff like that. And then when he was a kid, he had some weird disease, and like he couldn't have human touch because his immune system couldn't handle it. For like the first 5 months of his life, no one touched him. Oh shit! And it's like,
hang on,
that'll make a serial killer.
Weren't they experimenting with babies that way? Not necessarily because
Hitler was, I think, and people like that. But this was just like he had some.
So then MK Ultra got a hold of him because that's the perfect candidate.
Because he was also genius too, and so they were screwing with minds and But I do think our boy makes a lot of good points.
Yeah. I can't help. I just like the thought of like the going off in the wood. The bomb part, not so much.
Yeah.
The system's broken. The government has some issues. Well, I think we can all agree with that.
That was so many pioneers in Western expansion books was like people that
everybody who landed on this country.
No, but like people that got captured by Native Americans and then got like
turned out by them.
The white people came and got them back into society. A lot of them went back and lived with the tribes. And
just like the Amish when they let them out for their Rumspringa. They realize they come back and they go, "This is what I want."
But can
we start calling it Rumspringa when we go to the spar tree?
Yeah. Oh, that is absolutely Rumspringa.
That's the suck. Yeah, that's the real suck. Dude, that place was nuts.
Dude, that's what technology wants.
I would say summer bear hunting was so much fun.
Yeah.
That was
what we did and then end up at the spar tree afterwards
with what we saw.
Dude, That lady, the one bartender was singing that Too Short. Take that, nut, or whatever that song was.
Whatever it is.
And then do you
And a
remember
thong?
the other one? Like
I just
in
remember
her
the guy
underwear?
dying on his bar stool and then flopping off and then being revived and then wanting to get back on his bar stool.
And they're like, no, go outside.
Yeah.
They're like, he does this all the time.
What I always remember is we did that night, and then Tobin, you're like, never again. And then we went there for that live concert, and you're like, dude, these people are good around here. Like, they're solid, salt of the earth. I love this place. And it's like, you flipped 180.
I think I was saying I like Granite Falls.
Was that it?
Yeah.
I like the area.
The area?
The
geology.
clientele of the spar tree, not so much.
Hey.
That's not
Don't know that.
champagne.
We might get a sponsorship, guys.
Oh, shit. My bad.
Those are my people. My people? Yeah. My people.
All right, let's put a bow on this bitch.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, bow on this. We've gone a long time.
It's a Tuesday
We're going
night.
off the cuff.
Mike's putting his notes away.
No, thank
What
do we
at
learn?
the end of the day, Mike, what the fuck does technology want?
Technology, like evolution, I think is an opportunity, a way.
That's what it is. I want to know what it wants.
Yeah. But it's a way that it can still function through the natural laws of science and physics. I think no matter what the parameters are going to be, that it has to exist in this physical realm that we work with. What does it want? I think sustainability is the main thing. Like, it wants to keep growing. I don't know if there's any end goal. Just like, are people, are humans, are we the apex? It's like, no, man, give us 1,000 years. We'll probably keep changing. I think there is inherent factors like human want to live. I rather live than die. I rather progress than stop. I rather keep going. I rather fuck. I rather eat. I think in some ways there's inherent wants through these driving mechanisms that shape and create this universe. And I think technology is one that we are able to witness because it's the tools that we make. Most evolution happens through animals or organisms or biology, where this is artificial components that we make, and it seems to be paralleling the growth of the universe, the growth of humans, the growth of animal, like you name it, it mirrors so many ways. And I think this doesn't give me any answers, but it starts to put me on maybe a little bit better trajectory of what questions do I keep asking?
Okay. I love that you said that because that was basically word for word exactly how I was going to say it. Good night, bitches.